Hallelujah. And Shabbat Shalom, Todah Mishpachah. Hallelujah. Praise Yah, the highest praise. Todah Mishpachah. Thank you, family, for joining Restoring the Branches Ministry once again on a beautiful Shabbat day, as we always say. Special greeting to the 12 tribes of Israel are scattered abroad. As Shaul, as Apostle Paul says, to the Yahudim first, then to the Gentiles, and then to the nations. So we are always having an open arm and a door open to all people, all creatures that are wanting to get themselves right with the Creator, to get Amen. Themselves in line. We live in a time where it's so easy to be out of line. Amen. It's easy to be out of line. It's so easy to be a reprobate today. It's so easy to be evil today, wicked today, lost today, confused today, transgender today. It's so easy today. So those who don't want to be that way, those who might be that way and say, man, I done messed up. I got to get out this pit. We know a way for you to get out. We know someone that can pull you out that ditch and place you on a path back to Him. That's got to be your choice. But as we always say, special greetings to all. Thank you for joining us. I'm very ecstatic. I'm always ecstatic to be in front of the people of the Most High. Anytime to give the Most High's word. As we said last week, that we will be doing a presentation this month for Black History Month. I have my own personal views of saying Black history, just because you would rather say just history, right? Or like American history. But being the conditions and the stipulations, there is a set apart time called Black History Month, and this is probably the best time to get a lot of the Black community's attention, because now everybody will be so wrapped up in Martin Luther King portion of speeches and wearing t-shirts and doing all these commercial things that we might be able to catch somebody's attention. If we can catch your attention, we want to get into the mystery of Black history. That is the title of this presentation for this month. So our part one will start today. It's the introduction and awareness, and it's the mystery of Black history. So our objectives for this. Okay, if you remember, I'm taking back to school, right? Right? You had to ask some questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. All right. Okay. So, who are the blacks in America? Okay. What does the Bible say about these blacks? When did the heritage become black? I like saying it like that. Black. When did that happen? Where are the origins and ancestral home of these blacks? Why is the black experience so shallow and vague? I wonder if this month will anybody go past 1960. I wonder, well, I guess some will go to 1619. But, I mean, my goodness, we got things that happened in 70 AD and 100 AD, and I mean, can we go back farther than that? Can we get some idea of what was going on, and why not? Why can't we talk about these things? Why are these things limited? Is someone fearful? So where are the origins and ancestral home of these blacks? Why is the black experience so shallow and vague? Does it affect our self-esteem? Does it affect our self-esteem? The less I know about myself, the less I understand about myself, does that lead to my self-esteem being low? Is that done purpose? Is that a tactic? Or is it just my mistake? My bad, as we would say. And the last and final question, with all these things that we were going to go into, they're very important, they're very good. Nothing is like history and knowing and connecting the dots, but once again, can I be saved? My soul on the line. So how do we heal? How do we heal? Do we even need to be healed? Dealing with some personal things in my own personal life, with my own family. Somebody might have Alzheimer's, or they might have dementia, but Yah was kind of spinning it that there is like a spiritual Alzheimer's, spiritual dementia, where you lose your memory. You forget. You're forgetful. You're forgetful of certain things. And when you forget something, it kind of messes up the direction that you're going. I'm trying to get somewhere, but man, I forgot. I'm going to try to go back home today. And as soon as I get in my car, man, I forgot. I forgot how to get home. I'm going to have a heck of a time trying to, excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am, how do I get home? Can you help me? Nah, I don't know you. So those are objectives. We will not cover all these today. Okay, we cannot cover all these today. But over this month, we hope over these next 3 Shabbats after this one to cover this. And hopefully people will join us and get their full. I've been working on this for a long time. Not necessarily this, but just having things together and kind of prepared for something someday. Just having faith that Yah will make a way. And today Yah has made his way. So, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall do what?
Set you free.
Set you free. Yochanan, or John 8:32. Got to think for ourselves. Right? It's a statement it's an old statement, but it says that if you want to hide something from a black man, what you do? Put it in a book. You want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. So in other words, don't want you thinking. Don't want you thinking. I need you programmed like a robot. I need you to go about your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly cycle. I don't want you thinking. Okay. I'm going to read some out of Carter G. Woodson's book, The Miseducation of the Negro. Carter G. Woodson is the originator of Black History Month. Okay, it started out as Black History Week, but Carter G. Woodson. So in his book, he says, I'm on page 45 here. By their peculiar reasoning, too, theologians have sanctioned most of the ills of the ages. They justified the Inquisition, serfdom, and slavery. Theologians of our time defend segregation and annihilation of one race by another. They have drifted away from righteousness into an effort to make wrong seem right. Okay, now I'm going to go down to another part of the same chapter. Negroes responsible for following these ignorant theorists. Okay, we should not charge to their account the origination of this nonsense with which they have confused thoughtless people. And as said above, the Negro has been so busy doing what he is told to do that he has not stopped long enough to think about the meaning of these things. He has borrowed the ideas of his masters instead of delving into things and working some thought of his own. So the first section I read, that was wrong one. The second section I read, that was for the head, the brain locked behind the bars. Okay, so Carter G. Woodson was talking about how the Negro or black people just kind of do what they're programmed to do, and then our leaders, or people who's put in front of pulpits or our days TV screens and music, you know, they're doing whatever somebody else told them to do, and we're just following. We're just following someone else. But you know, something in the scripture, Yahshua say something about that, don't he? What did he say? That if the blind lead the blind, they both fall in the ditch. Malcolm X, accepting reality, truth, and history. Okay? I messed that up. It's all right. Malcolm X says, I'm for truth, no matter who tells it. I'm for justice no matter who it's for or against. That's how we got to be. Just give me the truth. Just tell me the stinking truth. Ain't nobody here gonna want to deal with a liar. You have cut relationships with people because they were a liar. People will cut relationships with you if you are found to be a liar.
Amen.
But why do we as a group of people continue to hang on to lies? Social lies, economic lies, educational lies, religious lies.
Lots of them.
We just hang on to them. Who are the blacks in America? Very interested here. We got to look at this. All right, this is Merriam-Webster's. I'm not going to Merriam-Webster, but anyway, who he is. Merriam-Webster's definition of black. All right, and we're going to, because obviously today you associate with being described or called black, right? Okay. So this is the definition of Merriam-Webster's 1A of the color black. Black sweater, a black dog. Black as coal. 1B, very dark in color. His face was black with rage, having very deep or low register. Number 2, having dark skin, hair, eyes, swarthy, black Irish. Okay. 2B. 1B. 1 minute, that's whatever. Often capitalized of or relating to any of the groups having dark pigmentation of the skin, black Americans. We finally get to that, but before that, I'm a black sweater, black dog, black coal. My register, when I get mad, I'm black in the face. John Merriam-Webster. Of or relates to African American people or their culture, black literature, black college, black pride, right? Black studies. Typical or representative of the most readily perceived characteristics of black culture. Trying to sound black, dressed in black, dirty, soiled, hands black with grime. Characterized by the absence of light. Wait a minute. Can somebody give me Isaiah really quick? 8 and 20. See, wordplay really matters. Once again, I'm just planting a seed. No, it's fine. Whatever you got. Go ahead.
To the law and to the testimony.
Uh-huh.
They speak not according to this word. It is because there is no light in them.
No what in them?
No light.
So a definition by Merriam-Webster's of black is characterized by the absence of light. Reflecting or transmitting little or no light, black water. Served without milk or cream, black coffee. Thoroughly sinister or evil, wicked, black deed. Indicative of condemnation or discredit. Got a black mark for being late. Connected with or invoking the supernatural and especially the devil, black magic, black arts. So these are, and this is today, right? This is a definition today. You know, this is not, you know, an old dictionary. This is today's dictionary. All right, that's right, brother. It's not outdated. This is very, very now. Okay, very now today. All right. Sister Maya Angelou, and the more you know of your history, the more liberated you are.
That's it.
So who are black people? Are we Negro? Are we colored? Are we Afro-American? Are we African-American? Are we black? I did not list the more offensive slurs, but our identification to the same people, right? I didn't throw those in there too. But so which one, you know, what are we? That's the author. There's a Bruce Strong quote. The more of you know of your history, the more liberated you are. You are one of those mysteries. You are one of those mysteries. Who you are, where you come from, your relationship to this text, what we call the Bible, the Scriptures, is a mystery. Mystery, 22 times in the text. Okay? In the New Testament, the Greek New Testament, mysterion. Mysterion, 22 times in our New Testament, in our Brit Kahadashah. Hidden thing, secret, mystery. Hidden thing, secret, mystery. It has been written and confirmed. Let's go to Deuteronomy 9. I'm sorry, Deuteronomy 29. Thank you. I didn't start. I'll start.
Oh, wait, it's in the Torah.
Yes, Torah. Yes, it's the Torah.
I got a regular Bible.
That's okay. No, the first 5 books, son. That's all right. Deuteronomy 9.
29.
I'm sorry, 29. Some must be good Deuteronomy 9. I keep saying it must be something good in there. It must be some fire in Deuteronomy 9 right now. It's all right. Deuteronomy 29.
Can I read this? Oh, yeah.
We'll start in verse 4. And it reads, Yet the Lord hath not given you an heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day. And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxen old upon you, and thy shoe is not waxen upon thy foot. Ye have not eaten bread, neither have you drunk wine or strong drink, that you might know that I am the Lord your God. And when ye came into this place, Sihon the king of Heshbon, and Og the king of Bashan came out against us into battle, and we smote them. And we took their land, and gave it for an inheritance unto the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and in half tribe to Manasseh. Keep therefore the words of this covenant, and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. Ye stand this day, all of you, before the Lord your God, your captains, your tribes, your elders, your officers, with all the men of Israel. Your little ones, your wives, thy stranger that is in thy camp, from the hewer of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water, that thou shouldest enter into the covenant with the Lord thy God, and into this oath which the Lord thy God make with thee this day, that he might establish thee in the day for thy people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee a God, as he saith unto thee, and as he has sworn unto the fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before the Lord our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day. So these words that Yah is speaking, this that I am saying, that I am delivering to you, it goes back to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's like a boomerang. And he went back to them, and he came back. You're here at the mountain, but he's so strong, he's so cold, the boomerang kept going. To those who are not here this day. For ye know how ye have dwelt in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by. And you have seen their abominations, their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them, lest there should be any among you, man, woman, or family, or tribe, whose heart turneth away this day from the Lord our God, to go and to serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. It shall come to pass, when he heareth the words of this curse, that he blessed himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of mine heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. The Lord will not spare him, but then the anger of the Lord and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and the Lord shall blot out his name from under heaven. And the Lord shall separate him into evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of this law. So that the generation to come of your children shall rise up after you, and the stranger that shall come from a far land shall say, when they see the plagues of that land, and the sickness which the Lord hath laid upon it, and that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt burning, that is not sown, nor beareth, nor any grass groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Adamah and Zibeon, which the Lord overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. Even all nations shall say, wherefore hath the Lord done this unto this land, and what meaneth the heat of this great anger? So, Yah and the children of Israel is a deep relationship, heavy relationship, I mean, this is like you and your significant other, your wife, your husband. It's a deep relationship. And we've been together for a long time. So, when you mess up, right, and the other spouse pours out all this wrath, part of it is because, yeah, I'm mad. But the other part is because I love you. I do love you. Right? I do love you, and I'm pouring this wrath out on you. And it's going to be so noticeable. Because this word that I'm saying today goes back to Abraham and them. And those that are not here today. That the way I feel, the passion, the energy that I feel today, I was like that with Abraham, and I'll be like that with your children's children's children who ain't here today. But that's what he said. We just read the Bible.
Amen.
All right, Isaiah 29. Isaiah 29. Isaiah 29, and verse 9. Isaiah 29, and verse 9.
Amen.
Stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out, and cry they are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes, the prophets and your rulers. The seers hath he covered. So Yah says, look, to get to the hole, I'm going to get to your head. So the people you follow. The people you follow. Because you, for some reason, we got in this relationship that we have, you really don't want to fool with me. I want to be right there with you. And you say, what's all that? Let me holler. I'd rather do that. I want you to come up this mountain. Whoa, Moses, look, man. You gonna talk to him. Because we gonna die. So he said, okay. So I'm going to pour. He said, these people, they walking around like they drunk, but they had nothing. They staggering around, but you know what? They had nothing. You perfectly sober. But I'm going to get your leaders. I'm going to get your prophets. I'm going to get your rulers. I'm going to get the seers in your camp. Verse 11. And the vision of all is becoming to you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men delivered to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precepts of men. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work, and a wonder, for the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? I wonder if that's like referencing to Creflo Dollar the other day, that the plan of Satan is for you to keep that law. Oh, Creflo. And Creflo messed up, didn't he? He messed up, didn't he? Because he took it to Matthew 5. And I guess he forgot what Matthew 5 was. And he read it. And he was just like, so the law is today still. You can hear crickets in that church. Which one is it, man? I want to say something else, but I can't say. Which one is it? Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Is it not yet a very little while, then Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and a fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest, and in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of the obscurity and out of darkness. I wonder if darkness like the way Merriam-Webster described black. I'm just, whatever. The meek also shall increase in their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought for naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Therefore thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Yaakov, Yaakov shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. But when he seeth his children, the work of mine hands in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name, and sanctify the Holy One of Yaakov, and shall fear the God of Israel. And they also that erred in spirit shall come to an understanding, and they that murmured shall learn. So what Yah is saying is that there will be a time where the teachers say things like, the devil wants you to keep the law. That's his plan. There will be a time where, people get tired of prosperity this, or people get tired of, Israelite camps and wickedness and just shenanigans. And it's going to be a time where they're going to say, where are the learned at? I want to go there. So Yah says, I'm going to let all this stuff bubble and fester and bubble and fester, and the room going to be so messed up you can't clean it. And you say, you know what? I got to move. I just got to move. So we want to be a group of people that is prepared and ready. Okay, not caught off guard. Right? That's why you got to have the watchman and the watchman at the watchtower. Okay, ain't talking about Jehovah's Witnesses. All right? We got to have the watchman ready. Let's turn to Romans. Romans 10th chapter. It amazes me every year we get to the winter solstice, or aka Christmas time, that more and more people talk about the different paganism and the roots of Christmas, and they go back to Saturnalia, they go back to Roman thought, Greek thought, and I have a book at home. It's the Stolen Legacy of Africa, I think. But it pretty much talked about all the things that the Greeks and Romans took from Africa. So not just ideas, but religion. And it goes all the way back to Egypt. So a lot of times for a believer, when you find yourself doing certain things around the sun or the moon or different stuff, it actually came from Egypt. Well, what did Yah say in the beginning? That you will not return back to Egypt. You're not going to go back to that kind of servitude, that kind of worship, that kind of idolatry. And then we fast forward, and here we are honoring Egypt. Anyway, but so Romans 10 and 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God is for Israel, that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. For they being ignorant of God's righteousness, and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of Elohim. We just read in Isaiah 9 and 29 and 9 to 24. Right? Are you the clay or not? Who are you? What are you? Well, right now in our state, we don't know. I am what you told me. That's what you told my mom or my daddy, if I had either one of them. And going on back down the line. We'll get to that. All right, Romans 11. Romans 11, still talking about Israel, because the Israelites do have a zeal. Right? We see that in our communities and in the churches and in a lot of different aspects of today, maybe that are not quote unquote Christian. If you look at the the essence of what when I was growing up, you know, street gangs, and you get initiated into something because it's now family. And I got your back, you got them. We're going to ride for a cause together. That sounds like Ephraim getting ready to go scrap Manasseh. You know, so that which is in you is there for a reason. It's just been perverted, right? We talked about Yah being that source, and what comes from the source is truth. But when the truth comes from the source and the adversary comes and bends it or perverts it, it's not straight no more. Now it's a perversion. It's a false reflection of what it's supposed to be. In Romans 11:1, I say then, if God cast away his people, God forbid, for I am also an Israelite of the seed of the Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. God will not cast away his people, which he foreknew. What ye not what the scripture said of Elias? How he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thine altars, and I am left all alone. They seek my life. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. That's why I never get off in who is or is not. I could care less. Because I know y'all got a lot of different people that might not look like me. And I'm cool with it. Okay? I'm cool with it. Everybody here cool with it. But when it comes to, when I look in the mirror, I got to be able to identify myself.
With him. Amen.
Right? I mean, what did Paul just say? I am an Israelite. I'm a seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Right? That's what he said. So we should be able to do the exact same thing. Okay. Verse 5. Even so then, at this present time, also there is a remnant according to election of grace. And if by grace, it is by no more of works, otherwise grace is no more grace. But if it be works, then it is no more grace, otherwise work is no more work. What then? Israel hath not attained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. According as it is written, God hath given them a spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. Amen. And David said, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened that they may see not, bow down their back always. I say then, had they stumbled that they should all fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is coming to the nations. Amen. Or Gentiles. For to provoke them to jealousy. So, when you want to describe who's an Israelite, who's jealous? You know, a part of this spiritual amnesia and spiritual dementia is that you have pockets of your brain that you do remember. Things trigger you. A smell, a sound. You know, maybe you're driving or something, or you're sitting on the porch, and the way you know, the little blue bird came and flew on, landed on the thing, and it's like, I think I remember. So it drives Israel to want to come back home. Once you realize you ain't home, you want to go home. You want to go home. Okay. 12, thank you. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world and a diminishing of the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you as Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I may magnify my office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead?
Hallelujah.
So, what are you saying, brother? It sounds like that the way y'all work with Israel, then it's going to be more powerful this next time. Once again, in the book of Jeremiah, it talks about how a part of Passover is remembering Egypt. Well, there will be a time in the future that the way Yah gathers Israel, that we won't even remember Egypt no more. And it will be how Yah gathered Israel and Judah from the north country and all countries. It's got to be amazing. Because we still talk about what he did in Egypt today.
Amen.
And the book said, we ain't going to talk about that no more. That's going to be an old edition. Keep going here.
16.
For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy, and the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou art being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them partakes of the root and the fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches. Boast not against the branches. But we're going to look at some stuff here that are coming from scholars and professors and that set American and global thought towards blacks. Now, we have in our Bible, boast not against the branches. So if the things that we're about to get into, if these people that you're talking about, you're calling not even humans, if they're the branches, let's look what Paul said. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root tree. Wait a minute, is that right? Is that 18? Am I right, play?
Yeah, I'm trying to read.
Root thee. Wait a minute. Okay. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off. And thou standest by faith, be not high-minded, but fear.
Amen.
For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God on them which fail severity, but toward thee goodness, if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou shalt also be cut off. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again. For if thou, which were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature, into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree?
Amen.
So, how Yah, Deuteronomy 29, this is what I'm saying. I'm talking to you that are here at the mountain. But back to Abraham and them, you're here today, and your offspring. And I'm going to pour that wrath out now. I'm going to pour it out. All of it. So as we're in Shaul's time, we're in Romans' time, and he says, hey man, when it comes to the Israelites, God going to take care of them. But don't boast against them. You're not taking their place. You know, all this other stuff. Matter of fact, be fearful. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Okay. All right, now we're in verse 25. For I will not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, the mysterion, about something that's hidden, Israel. Least you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness is in part happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles are come in. And so all Israel shall be saved. And so it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away the ungodliness from Jacob.
Hallelujah.
For this is the covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins.
Hallelujah. Amen.
Keep going. Keep
Yes,
going.
sir.
As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your election, for your sake. But as touching the election, they are beloved for their Father's sake.
Thank you.
Say that again. As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sakes. For the gifts and calling of God are without repentance. For as in times past have not believed God, yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief. Even so, that these also not now believe, and through your mercy they also may obtain mercy. For God hath concluded that all in unbelief, and that he might have mercy upon all. Oh, the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of Elohim! How unsearchable are his judgments, and his ways past finding out. For who hath known the mind of the Lord, or who hath been his counselor? Or who hath given first given to him, and it shall be recompensed unto him again? For of him, and through him, and to him are all things, to whom be glory forever. Amen.
Amen.
Let's turn to 2 Corinthians, 3rd chapter. You know, when we look at Romans, you know, with that keeping that context there, right? That there is something that Yah is going to do with Israel, and as Shaul speaking, Jerusalem is still Jerusalem. Okay, so I don't want to jump the. I'm gonna jump the gun a little bit, but if we are to say that we are descendants of Israelites that went into Africa, we want to try to get more specific and talk about Judah, or Benjamin, or Levi, or clearly Dan and Gad, who were on the west coast of Africa, that some of our ancestors would have been in Jerusalem at this time. So there are others who are already in a diaspora, who were already scattered, who Shaul was talking about, but the Yehudim were still there. Like that hadn't happened yet. Okay, 70 AD hadn't happened yet, or close around to it. Okay, because Paul will still go back to Jerusalem to keep a feast. Okay, but 2 Corinthians 3rd chapter, being verse 13. And not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which was abolished. But their minds were blinded, for unto this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Christ. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is still upon their heart. So when we're talking about the children of Israel, a lot of them is hard to receive the scriptures. It's hard to receive the scriptures. Some of them still sleepwalking. Hard as I don't know what. And their eyes and ears cannot see or hear what is being said. And they can't place themselves there. Right? Verse 16, nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. So there's going to be something that's going to be so powerful that Yah does by the Spirit that we really probably can't even understand. We'll just know it when we see it.
Amen.
We'll know it whenever we see it. Okay. All right. So, is perception reality? Is perception reality? This is from the book, The Return to Glory, The Powerful Stirring of the Black Man. Okay, it's not written by some black supremacist or some. It's actually written by Dr. Joel A. Freeman, a white man who does an amazing. Go to Freeman Institute if you're taking notes. www.freeman Institute. Amazing, very good, outstanding job. And then Don B. Griffin. They wrote this book together. Who is the black guy? Don B. Griffin. I say black, I don't like saying black anyway. All right, so it's perception reality. So this is out of page 14 of this book. The missing items is a large segment of their past, a glorious past, an ancient history that belongs to them, but which was craftily snatched. But which was craftfully snatched. But which was craftfully snatched. But which was craftfully snatched. So I don't know how to do that stuff. People do stuff on YouTube and stuff, and they do a video, and they bring it back, and they do it, and they bring it back, and they do it. I'm going to be doing that sometime. Okay? Which was craftily snatched and given to others. To remove the legacy of the entire race from the minds of the masses. to remove the legacy of an entire race from the minds of the masses is a tremendous act of deception. We call it the greatest ripoff of all time. It's page 14 of this book, Deuteronomy 32 and 26. It reads, I said, I would scatter them
Yes, it did.
into corners.
Amen.
I would make the remembrance of them to cease
Come on.
from among men.
Yes, sir.
So Dr. Freeman and Brother Griffin, they say it's the greatest ripoff to remove the legacy, and they did this, and they did that. Well, y'all said, I said, I would scatter. I would make the remembrance to cease from among men.
Amen. Come on.
All right, let's get your popcorn ready. 18th and 19th century conclusions of blacks. Okay, so if someone says 18th century, it just means from 1701 to 1799. Okay, 19th century from 1801 to 1899. So what is going on in the 1700s and 1800s? Slavery. Slave trade. Okay, yes. Slavery, slave trade. That's what's going on during this time period. Now, obviously, 1865, Civil War, 1861, Civil War, but that's not the point. Okay. So we have what is called monogenetic or monogenesis. Monogenetic or monogenesis. Mono means what?
One.
One. Okay. So then we have polygenesis. Poly means what?
More than
Bunch.
one.
Okay. So this is regarding where do black people come from? Where they come from? This topic here, very big topic, is about black people, their origin. Are you human? So there is a strong drive to say, hey, not only are we superior, but they're so inferior, I don't even think they're human. Except when I'm having sex with the women. Except then, right? By force. So we have monogenesis, a diverse individuals or kinds by descent from a single ancestral individual or kind. So people come from one. Okay, there's a root, there's something that happens, there's a root, and then people come from this. So one of these, so if you're monogenetic, then it's like, okay, where are you? What kind of monogenetic are you? So some were called an Adamite. Adamite. And an Adamite holds to biblical creation. Strictly scriptures, strictly Bible. Thus saith the Lord, he formed Adam from the dust of the ground, and then he put Adam in the deep sleep, and he went in Adam, and he pulled out a rib, and that's it. No science. Bible only knows that is called an Adamite. Now, an Adamite's view towards blacks in this time period is, example, blacks suffer from curses, Cain and Ham. So that's why they are in their position, global slavery, animalistic, cannibals, dumb, just nothing. Because cursed from God. Curse of Cain in Genesis, and then Cain got cursed in Genesis 3 or 4, and then Ham got his curse 10 or 11. That's what an Adamite believes. So there's no science, there's no anything else like that. Okay. Now a rational monogenetic. The only way I can describe it is like how we have our politics. You have your conservatives, and you got your Republican, you got conservative, Tea Party, then the Democrats. You got all these different divisions. It's kind of like that. So rational monogenetic is a liberal Christian. So someone who is a Christian, but they're a little bit more liberal in their thinking, and they place high emphasis on science. A high emphasis on science, believing the earth is older than the Bible states. Example, skin color and inferior physiological traits are degenerative. So your nappy hair, your dark skin, big old lips. Big old lips. Those are degenerative traits. You went backwards. Or, I'm sorry, we outgrew. We became a more superior stock. Okay. Now, a transformist. Species pass through successive transformation. Example, from apes to men. Okay. John Lamarck, very popular for this. So, from apes to men. So, and during this time period, who was the man that came from an ape? See where it's going? So all they're different. If you're a monogenetic, and if you're Adamite or rational monogenetic or a transformist, they're different. But the base denominator is no. Y'all supposed to be down there. You supposed to be down
Less
there,
than.
boy. Go get my Worcestershire sauce. Okay. All right. Now. Well, I mean, I could be crazy and angry and honest. I mean, we're just going to look at the information and take it as it is. And as my mama told me some years, we was talking about some stuff, and me and my mom was talking, and I said something that was probably young and dumb. I said, man, if I was around back then, she said, man, hush your mouth. You don't know what it was during that time period, and she didn't say this, but what the status quo was. You get in where you fit in. Because a lot of times you like to say, oh, I'd have been like a Nat Turner. No, you wouldn't. Hush your mouth. People always say, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Okay, now, I have down here the Jeffersonians. Okay? Who would you, if you hear Jeffersonians, who would that?
Institute. Jeffersonian Institute. Oh, Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. Okay, but that's still good though. So Thomas Jefferson was viewed. So people who would follow Thomas Jefferson, who were in his camp, right? He was one of the founding forefathers and all that good stuff. By the Adamites, the rational monogenetic, the transformers, the viewed as radical. Viewed as radical. All men created equal, right? Declaration of Independence. All men created equal. Concluded the Negro was inferior, and race classification is built in superiority. So though this was said, in other words, it was like, yeah, they said that. They ain't mean that.
No.
This is what they meant. So a lot of times people will fight and try to clarify what Thomas Jefferson and those meant in the Declaration of Independence. And what they really meant was that the Negro was inferior and race classification is built in superiority. That's what they meant. Okay, so we're going to transform over here. So polygenesis, okay, many sources of origin. Okay, so a neo-traditionalist is a Christian who believes in polygenism. All right, man modified through creative changes. This is pre-Darwinism. Okay, groundwork for evolution. Okay, so there could have been multiple creations. Whatever the creation was, whatever it was. Big Bang Theory, there was a bunch of Big Bangs. Man came from salivary algae. There was a bunch of salivary and algae all over, and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. The second division of being a second polygenetic division accepted the conclusion of a neo-traditionalist, more emphasis on Mosaic cosmology. So thought like a neo-traditionalist, but kind of leaned more to the Bible, like a Adamite. Okay. All right. Third polygenetic division relates to Lamarckism over here. John Lamarck, right? Transformist. Relates to Lamarckism monogenetics. So this would be a person that is kind of a monogenetic. Everything comes from one, but I believe in species passing through something else. Example, different apes leads to different races based on regional location. Okay, so if you're in Africa, you come from more of an African ape. If you're in China, you came from some kind of China primate, wherever you are. So not just one kind of primate, but multiple primates. So this is the thought. This is the academic and religious. Why? Because we see a lot of people are Bible believers. CVL. Carl Linnaeus, or Carl von Linné, 1707 through 1778. Swedish botanist, a physician, zoologist, known as the father of modern taxonomy. We've all have studied his stuff in some shape, form, or fashion. All right, he was a monogenetic, rational, so he was of that, on that other side. Okay, so he believed in the Bible, but he leaned more towards science. Okay, all right, distinguished and classified animals and plants by observation, physical look. So if you remember, if I was to say, name some felines, what would we say?
Cat.
Cougar. Okay. What else?
Jaguar.
Jaguar, cheetah, Jackson. No, all these would be deemed as felines. Okay. Prissy. All these would be deemed as felines. Conifer. What are some conifers?
Conifers?
Yeah. What'd you say? What'd you say?
Carnivores?
No, conifers. Trees. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Conifers.
Oak tree.
Palm tree, pine tree.
Okay.
Oak tree. Oak tree. Oak tree.
Well, I don't know about oak tree. Redwood.
Yeah.
Sequoia. So this is the guy that grouped animals and plants and things together for a specific physical traits. This is what he did. In his prized work, System of Nature, in the 3rd edition, he added humans to his chart. Uh-oh.
Right.
So in his 3rd edition, he added humans. Humans were equal with quadrupeds, primates, and sloths. He coined the phrase, for man, Homo sapiens, which means know thyself. This would lead towards the Homo sapiens being classified by race. By merely looking at skin color and Linnaeus' opinion on their moral and intellectual status. So he broke down people the way he did plants and animals, and he did it by observation. So he's going to look at people, their differences, skin color, and then say, hey, I'm going to talk about their moral and intellectual status. He just looked at them. I mean, he's a botanist, physician, zoologist. You have to do testing. You got to test to get the right result. So
Truth.
correct. So this is the classification system. We've all studied this in school. This is still taught today. So this is from an article by J.S. Haller, who was a history or a professor at Southern Illinois University, retired not that long ago. So what we're about to read, he said, he's going to quote this guy here. This guy was a professor at SIU not that many years ago, in the 2000s. Linnaeus describes Homo americanus as reddish, choleric, obstinate, contented, and regulated by custom. Because remember what Linnaeus said he was going to do? He was going to classify people by the skin color and moral and intellectual status. Homo Europus as white, fickle, sanguine, blue-eyed, gentle, and governed by laws. Homo Asiaticus, sallow, grave, dignified, avaricious, ruled by opinion. And Homo Afro, black, phlegmatic, cunning, lazy, lustful, careless, and governed by caprice. What is it? Caprice? What is it?
No, I don't know.
I think it means maybe like emotions, passions, lust, I don't know. So this is what he felt. Governed by impulse. Just shut out the gun.
Good could feel.
So this is what J.S. Haller is in his article, Outcast from Evolution. Yeah. After Carl von Linnaeus, we have Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, 1752 through 1840. I want us to remember these years, because when we're going to look at some things with these same years, you're going to say, hey, wait a minute. You're going to start noticing something here before we get done with this presentation. So Blumenbach, it was a German physician, a naturalist, physiologist, and anthropologist. Introduced the study of mankind into natural history. Okay, so natural history, like studying like natural sciences, earth, animals, plants.